Okay, so I want to talk to you today about your essay topics and finding sources and having a better perspective on um, on your philosophy of gaining sources. So let's say you're going to write on something like how um, social media uh, uh, is correlated with teen uh, oops, suicide. All right. You don't necessarily want to start searching social media and teen suicide together. All right. You can, but you don't need to. First, think about these things as separate topics. All right. What the heck just happened? To where this is, say, social media, and this is teen suicide, right? You don't need to search these things together. You can just research this by itself, teen suicide, and find out what causes teen suicide, and you will find determiners in these articles that might talk about loneliness or separation. It might talk about teen suicide, specifically just teen suicide and not related to social media, but we'll get these concepts, all right, that are specific to teen suicide. Then when we do research on social media, we might find things about social media, like we just read an article where it talked about FOMO, right? And then looking at social media, you don't have to find social media articles that deal with teen suicide, just that deal with social media specifically, right? So maybe an article talks about FOMO, maybe an article talks about, these should sound familiar, by the way, real life versus online life. And maybe, what's going on here? Connection with others. And so this is what social media articles might deal with, is that these types of concepts. And these over here are articles that maybe teen suicide deals with. What we're going to do, what's going to be your argument, what's going to make it your argument, is that your language is what's going to connect these pieces of research. Don't look for an article that deals with all of it together, because then what you're going to end up doing is summarizing someone else's opinion. What you want to do is have something that connects two ideas. That'll be your argument. The fact that we're connecting social media, right, with teen suicide, this will be your argument. I'm sure there's articles about it, but we're not looking for those articles. Because if we do, again, all we're doing then is summarizing. We want to do more than summarize. We want to create our own ideas. And so you want to just do research on one and do research on the other, and then you connect them. And then you see over here that through social media, people can feel left out. And so you start connecting. Oh, over here, I hear on teen suicide that when people feel separated from others, they might be more suicidal. Well, geez, over here in this article about social media, we see that people feel left out all the time. So it makes sense that these are related, right? That over here, teen suicide might be, it might lead, where loneliness might lead to teen suicide, when over here it says that with social media, we don't have the connections that we usually have. So I'm making these connections. I'm drawing these together. And if you research with this concept where you're breaking up your larger ideas and not searching them both together, but searching them separately and then trying to connect them with your own thoughts, you're going to have a much more effective argument. And you're going to have a lot more research to find, because you don't have to look for articles that just deal with what your thesis is. Again, that's not necessarily a good thing. If you find articles that say exactly what you want to say, that's not necessarily a good thing, because then you're just summarizing. All right? You want to find evidence of your argument, not a repetition of your argument. And that's a big difference.